Čau, tak jsem tady zase s novým videem. Tak jsem tady zase s novým videem. Nebo tak jsem tady opět s novým videem. Tak jsem tady znovu s novým videem. Moment. Ještě jednou? Anyway, I'm here again with my new video, and our topic is precisely how to translate the word again in Czech. When you look it up in the dictionary, it would probably tell you that you can say zase, znovu, opět, ještě jednou. Those are 4 variants. But then we can also have zas and also znova. That gives us 6 different forms. So how does this work? This is a topic that one of my students asked me, and I sat down, thought about it, and found out it's not that easy. When I looked at it at the first glance, I said, well, they're all the same. They are somewhat same, but wait, there is a little bit of difference, but how exactly? So I prepared a video for you in which I am going to simplify the options, the theory of how to translate the word again in Czech. Also, this video is based on my knowledge, based on my experience as a Czech native speaker, based on a little linguistic research in the Czech corpus. I just want to help learners like you who want to speak Czech and want to speak it correctly. So let's take a look at some sentences with again and how we can translate them. First of all, let's look at these 6 sentences that are very, very similar. Imagine you want to translate, I'm here again, I'm here again. Imagine you walking to a store where you often go and you want to be friendly, you know the shop assistant. So you want to say, so, I'm here again. You could say, tak jsem tady zas. I'm here again. Zas. Tak jsem tady zase. Zase also means again. Tak jsem tady znovu. I'm here again. Tak jsem tady znova. Tak jsem opět tady. Tak jsem tady ještě jednou. You probably have a lot of questions now popping in your head. Hold that thought. I will explain everything. First things first. I would like to focus on the formality first. Zas and zase are exactly the same words. Zas is more informal. Znovu and znova, as you might see clearly, they're also identical in meaning. The only difference is that znova is more informal. And if you're wondering why the order is switched here, it sounds a little bit better, but if you say tak jsem tady opět, it's also okay. But usually it would not be at the end if there is a possibility to move it before. So as I said, I would like you to first understand which words are formal and which are not formal. So imagine this scale of formality, and it has 5 levels. Number 1 means the word is formal, very formal, and number 5 means the word is the most informal. By formal, I mean that we would rather write it than say it. So I will draw a pen here, and then the informal use means it's mostly spoken. But you could also write it, of course, but when we speak, we prefer to use this form, and if you use this in writing, you have to be careful in which context. You could use this in a text message or an email to a friend, but you could not use it when you're writing a very formal, very proper speech. Once again, number 1 is the most formal use, and number 5 is the most informal. This is just for my own reference and for you to imagine it a little bit. It is nothing official. Let's grade these sentences. Tak jsem tady zas. Zas is very informal. We would give it number 5. Tak jsem tady zase. It's also informal, but not as much as zas. We would give it number 4. Tak jsem tady znovu. Znovu is formal, definitely. I would give it number 1. Znova is the same word, but it's just a colloquial variant. I would say it's all the way to number 5. It's informal. You can see each is on different side, znovu versus znova. You could remember it by thinking, you know, when you pronounce u, it takes a little bit more effort than znovu, so much work. I don't want to say that. I want to say znova, so relaxed. So that's why it is informal. And here, zas, sometimes we shorten the informal words. Sometimes it's the opposite, but let's not talk about it here. Tak jsem opět tady. Opět is very formal. really, really formal. Tak jsem tady ještě jednou. Ještě jednou is something in between. It's more towards the informal side, but it's not exactly that informal. I would give it number 3 or 3.5. So here is what I want you to remember from this specific slide. There is a significant difference in some of these words when it comes to the use, when to use it, in which situations. Is it a formal situation? Is it an informal situation? And I don't mean by treating people as vy or ty. I mean when you go and talk to your friends, you can use all of these, that's no problem, but maybe if you use znovu, they'll look at you and say, what's wrong with you? And if you're writing an important email to a client you have never met, if you happen to write it in Czech, you would not use zase or znova. Ještě jednou might be fine. These are the things that you need to keep in mind. Now let's get to the actual meaning. Is there a difference? That's a good question. Many of these in many situations are exactly the same. We could say that ještě jednou is more close to znova than anything else. Ještě jednou also means once more. These also mean it's going to be repeated one more time, but not specifically. So with these sentences from A to E, you're saying, well, I'm here again. And this one means something very similar, but you are emphasizing that, oh, I have come once more. Maybe you forgot something. So this one slightly stands out by saying, here I am once more. I'll give you more examples, don't worry. Let's take a look at some numbers. I searched in the Czech corpus database. The Czech corpus gathers information from books that have been translated into Czech or have been published in Czech, Czech magazines, etc. The word zase appeared in a total of 46,108 entries. And I also looked for zase because it's a different entry. That one appeared in a total of 7,489. I'm looking at my laptop right there. Opět appeared in a total of 28,140. Znovu 39,416. And znova 2,396. And the last one, ještě jednou, a total of 4,202 entries. It's really handy. You just type in the word and then it shows you that particular word in all kinds of contexts. Little fragments from books and magazines. Okay, so what are these numbers telling us? Zase is the most common, it appears, but there's one thing we have to keep in mind. Zase has an additional meaning, as in yet, when we talk about contrast. So we could say this might be a little bit lower, but also combined with this, and these are synonymous when we don't consider the formal use, so it is still considerable. Also, znovu and znova, we could sum them up. Ještě jednou seems to be used very little, but it's probably what you hear all the time. So how does that work? Ještě jednou has more limited use. We specifically want to do something once more, not multiple times. You are saying once more. Whereas all the other ones here are saying that you just want to repeat it, do it again. How many times? Who knows? Ještě jednou is also used mostly with verbs that are related to human interaction, like communication. Sometimes it would sound strange if you used it with some other verbs. So based on these numbers and the example sentences, I tried to make this Venn diagram. This is my own point of view with the data that I got from the corpus, but I am not a linguist, I am a Czech teacher and I am a native Czech speaker. So when you look at it, there are two words that stand out a little bit. They're a little bit out of the way. Znovu or znova. And ještě jednou. Ještě jednou because it means it's done specifically one more time. And znovu because it comes from the word noví, which means new. So inside this word znovu, znova, there is a hidden word noví, new. You are starting something from zero, which doesn't work in every context. Just like ještě jednou doesn't work with every context. Zase and opět are quite similar. The only difference is formality. Opět is very formal. And the words zase, zas, when translated as again, are used very, very broadly. They are really common. So we could technically say, when you want to translate again, you can almost never go wrong with zas or zase. Or can you? Let's find out. let's look at the word zase and its informal variant zas, which is translated as again. Let's look at some handy phrases that you can use when you interact with Czech natives and you can impress them, as some of you have been telling me. When a certain situation happens again and you are maybe feeling a little frustrated or surprised, you could say už zase. Už zase means here it goes again. Or už zase again. Seriously? Už zase? Or you could say už je to tu zas. Here we go again. Or zase doesn't matter. Zas, as you remember, is more informal. Or I clearly remember my mom telling us turn off the light. And then we would always forget. And then she would be frustrated saying kdo zase nezhasnul v koupelně? Kdo zase nezhasnul v koupelně? Or nezhasl, which is more proper. This basically means who was the one who didn't turn off the lights in the bathroom again. So every time you are frustrated with something or you're surprised at something happening again, zase is your word. Are you frustrated that something happened again? Well, go with zase. A zase jsme tam, kde jsme byli před týdnem. And we're back where we were a week ago. A jsme zase tam, kde jsme byli před týdnem. Zase jsem na to zapomněla. I forgot about it again. Zase jsem na to zapomněla. Or you can slightly reprimand someone by saying zase si to neudělal. You didn't do it again. Zase si to neudělal. Doufám, že nebudeš mít zase zpoždění. I hope you won't be late again. Doufám, že nebudeš mít zase zpoždění. Přijdeš včas, nebo budeš mít zase zpoždění? Will you come on time or will you be late again? Přijdeš včas, nebo budeš mít zase zpoždění? However, it doesn't have to be about frustrations only. Your dear grandmother is happy to have you home and she bakes buchty for you. These buns filled usually with plum jam, poppy seeds or tvaroh quark. You really love buchty. As you're leaving, she says, upeču buchty, až zase přijedeš. I'll make these buns when you come visit again. Upeču buchty, až zase přijedeš. Someone at the store could say goodbye by saying děkujeme, přijďte zas. Thank you, come again. Děkujeme, přijďte zas. Nowadays it would be more like a cliché phrase, but you can still use it playfully. A zase budou Vánoce. And it's gonna be Christmas again. Well, this could be a frustration. Zase budou Vánoce. Or you could just be thinking, a zase budou Vánoce, it's gonna be Christmas again and I don't know what to buy for presents. So here is your word zase, your first choice when you want to translate again. And here is your second choice for again, although you could see is not as frequent compared to all the other possibilities. In real life, in spoken Czech, this is pretty common. What you have to keep in mind is this word jednou hidden in there, which means once more, once more. You're specifically saying, let's do this once more. If you don't understand, you could ask, ještě jednou prosím, or you didn't hear well. Ještě jednou prosím, once more please. Můžete to říct ještě jednou? Can you say it one more time? Ještě jednou moc děkuju. Thank you once again. You are really happy and you want to express your gratitude and you want to emphasize. I want to thank you again. Ještě jednou moc děkuju. Or someone asks you, what do you see in this picture? What's strange in this? You looked at it and you say, I don't know. And then you say, wait, ukaž mi tu fotku ještě jednou. Show me that picture again, one more time. Maybe I will spot something now. Ukaž mi tu fotku ještě jednou. Or this sentence. Tak pojedeme ještě jednou. Which can have different meanings. One would be literal. Imagine you go on a roller coaster and you want to go again. So you say, okay, let's ride one more time. Tak pojedeme ještě jednou. Or it could be in a recording studio. There's a scene being filmed that didn't come out quite right, so they can say, tak pojedeme ještě jednou. Let's do it one more time. So we use ještě jednou when we want to improve something. Something didn't work entirely, so we need to do it again. Like here, ještě jednou prosím. I didn't hear that, so can you repeat that? Or ukaž mi tu fotku ještě jednou. Show the picture to me one more time, so I can see it better. We need to retake this shot. Tak pojedeme ještě jednou. Let's record this again, one more time. And on the contrary, You want to use ještě jednou when something was so good that it needs to be said again or repeated again. Ještě jednou moc děkuju. Thank you once again. This was so good, so helpful. I have to say this one more time that I am grateful. Or, as the example with the roller coaster, this was so much fun, we have to ride again. Ještě jednou is often used with verbs such as říct ještě jednou, zopakovat ještě jednou, although that seems redundant to repeat once more, but that's also how we use it commonly. Podívat se ještě jednou, look again. Napsat ještě jednou, write again. Vysvětlit ještě jednou, explain once more, because you didn't get it the first time. Poděkovat ještě jednou, say thank you once more because it was really helpful, etc. As I mentioned, it's mostly related to communication, but of course you can also use it with other verbs to do something one more time. But remember that we are specifically saying that something will be done once more. So I want to stop here, and because this video is becoming a little too long, I'll leave the rest for next week. For now, I want to leave you with this thought that zase or zas are the same word, except zas is more informal than the informal zase. And it's used very, very frequently, has a very broad meaning. You could use it for pretty much anything except for when you want to say that you want to do something once more and you want to repeat it because it needs to be improved or because it was so good that it needs to be done again. Please check back next week to learn about the remaining 3 words. Opět, znovu and znova. Mějte se a uvidíme se zase za týden. Čau, čau.